Going back to the Jeopardy thing, just what does this opportunity mean to you to get to host it, and what has that show meant to you over the years?
I'm really excited about it. We've been talking about it for a little bit. I think I may have jumped the gun a little bit, so I apologize to Jeopardy if they wanted to announce it. I just got so excited on the show earlier. It kind of just went down the last couple of days, us figuring it out. So it is very exciting. It's for the off season. We'll be even more excited when that opportunity gets a little closer. But man, the show has been so special to me over the years. It's been a staple at my house here in Green Bay for the last 16 years.
Guys like Mike Florio. I mean, don't waste your time reading crap like that.
I have a feeling that will not be a video daily double at any point over the next
Don't read that crap. Don't read that crap.
Have a feeling. Hey, I'm rooting for him to do well. I can't wait to watch it. I hope he does well. And for business purposes, I'm hoping that it creates a real conundrum, and he has to decide whether or not he's going to keep playing football.
Oh, I bet you would. I bet.
Host of Jeopardy. I just think it'd be a hell of a story. I always root for a great story, and that would be an incredible story, although Packers fans would not be thrilled with that development. The front office may be, because it definitely would start the Jordan Love era in Green Bay. All right, we're going to do a draft of the NFL figures who would make the best show host, and that is a very, very broad category both ways. We didn't say what type of show. It doesn't have to be a game show. It can be any show other than, obviously, a sports show. Trivia question is going to be Jeopardy style, so the answer, Chris, must be in the form of a question. The answer is this. The category is presidents.
Okay.
The answer is this.
The answer or the
he
question?
Received this is the answer. You have to give the question.
Oh.
The answer is in the form of a question.
Gotcha.
Here's the answer. He received contract offers from the Lions and the Packers to play in the National Football League.
Who is Ronald Reagan?
Womp, womp, womp. Gerald Ford.
Gerald Ford.
Gerald Ford.
I did not know that about him. Wow.
He had a reputation for being clumsy. He actually played college football at Michigan.
Wow.
And it was an actual Jeopardy question. So credit to Jeopardy for that. There's a lot of different ways I can go. And some of these guys, when we get into things football figures can do away from football that would be fun, I think some of the same names are going to come up. And I'm taking him now right out of the gates, Bruce Arians, because whatever it is, you give him whatever he happens to be drinking, you get him to loosen up, you put him behind the desk. I would say some sort of a late night talk show with relaxed language standards. I think Bruce Arians would be awesome as an interviewer. Monologue, he just tell stories and let the profanities fly. It would probably have to be an HBO show, but still, I would line up to watch Bruce Arians hosting whatever it is he would want to host.
No, I hear you. I mean, yes, and you'd like it to be to let 4-letter words fly and everything like that, so he could really feel himself and be himself. That would be must-watch TV. So I'm with you there. He was on my list too. I'm going to go with a coach to go along with you. I'm thinking more of like Jeopardy. All right, here. This is what I'm doing, but I am going to go with my old coach. Yeah, Jon Gruden. I mean, if Jon Gruden was the host of Jeopardy, the faces you would get when people answered things wrong and like had bad answers, if they were like, what is Ronald Reagan? He'd look at you and, what are you, adult or something? I mean, well, Ronald Reagan, holy cow, you don't study. He'd eviscerate these people. He wouldn't be able to hold his emotions. So Gruden would be one I'd like to sit there and watch, especially host Jeopardy.
His reactions to when people get the questions wrong would be worth it.
Yes.
Even if he didn't say anything, he can't control his face. And he'd have the one eyebrow flying up, and he would be very good at that. I'm going to go next. And this one may surprise you because he's young in the sport.
Yeah.
But we've seen enough already from Patrick Mahomes. Number one to know, and this applies to all the I took one of yours. All the quarterbacks out there who are great at what they do would be great at whatever they do because you have to be driven and focused and organized, and you have to be a leader, and you have to communicate well. Patrick Mahomes is just so damn likable. And I could see him hosting some sort of a news show where you just get to the news and all the personality-driven stuff that gets people polarized. There's nothing polarizing about Patrick Mahomes. He could have the most difficult, delicate subject matter, and he'd deliver everything in such a likable way that we would get past the personality and actually get. I know this is deeper than I wanted to be on a Monday morning, especially after.
Way deep.
But I think he would be a great voice
Yes.
to cut through all the noise that we now have to deal with to get to reality and to understand issues and to understand what's right and what's wrong. And I just think he could do anything and do it in a way that would work because everyone would like him. He would not be polarizing. So he'd be the perfect figure for anything where you're trying to bring people together, not drive people apart.
Yeah, I hear that. He does. He's got a great way about him where you would feel like it's not like condescending, or he's shouting down at you or anything like that. Plus, like you talk about his voice, I'd love to hear his voice. That'd be the funny thing. Like doing Jeopardy and anything like that, I can't do his Kermit the Frog voice, but it would be perfect. It'd be fun to watch or listen to, nonetheless, as quirky as that is. So I hear you. I'm mad you took Patrick Mahomes because that was going to be one of my choices. All right, I'm gonna go to Jalen Ramsey as my next one. I love Jalen Ramsey. I love his surliness. You know, he's got charisma, but he's not afraid to side-eye you. And I certainly think, like, in a Jeopardy setting, too, if you had dumb questions, oh, man, would you get some reactions facially and some crap talking? This is one of the greatest crap talkers in football. So I think he would, give it back to some people that way. Jalen Ramsey, to me, is like one of those personalities I'd love to be around for, like a 24-hour period, just to hang out with and hear how his mind works a little bit. I find him intriguing.
So you've got him pegged for a Jeopardy type. You didn't really
went
get
Jeopardy.
creative on the back end. They're all Jeopardy hosts.
Yeah, I kind of went all Jeopardy. I mean, yes, I saw Aaron Rodgers on there, and I just thought, okay, host, and I thought it was Jeopardy-ish. So that's where I went with this whole thing.
All right, well, I got real creative for my last one. I want Dan Campbell to be the host of a cooking show, specifically a show about cooking meat on the bone, so we would have as many possible kneecap-biting references as we could get. But I could just see him being like an in-your-face, Gordon Ramsay type of a figure, just yelling and screaming, and especially when it comes to his food being messed up. I have a feeling he's very particular about his food being just the way he wants it, which is like full of fat and greasy. But I think Dan Campbell, based upon what I've seen and heard of him so far, would be awesome in that kind of a setting.
Well, you're going to get crazy phrases, who knows what kind of reactions. He's probably going to give you like life lessons on how to be tougher. How to work harder, do those type of things, old school football talk like that way. I'm with you. I'm really excited about Dan Campbell as the coach of the Lions. I do. I want to see what he brings to that football team. The way it worked that first time around with the Dolphins, it was pretty damn good. He did change the energy of that football team. I think he could do that with Detroit. My last one is like, all right, this was like off my Jeopardy one just because I thought of this morning, would be I'd love to see like Calais Campbell hosting an interview show, with like small Hollywood actors. That would be hilarious to see them like right next to each other in like and then there's this giant Calais Campbell and he's talking to Tom Cruise, who's as big as his right leg. Like that to me would be must see. And then him talking in his big deep voice, and he'd be like, Tom Cruise, what were you thinking when you were in all those movies jumping out of plane? Like that I just think would be funny from the optics alone.
I think Calais Campbell did something like that, where he had like an interview show with small furniture, which made his size even more exaggerated.
That would be good. I haven't seen that.
There's plenty of others. I had others on my list. I'd like to see Bill Belichick do it, just because I'd like to see how he acts in a setting other than when he is being asked questions he doesn't want to answer. We know he was awesome on that NFL 100 show and nominated for the NFL 100 show. And another type of a guy who you tell him the path to being successful, he'll figure it out, and he'll do what he has to do to be successful. And I've heard this for 20 years. You get him away from football. You get him away from that setting, and he's a completely different guy.
Yeah, I mean, he is. And not that I've gotten to see it a whole lot myself, but that's anybody that's been around him for periods of time. I mean, my father included, all that. He's very, very funny that way. You don't get to see the real Bill when it comes to in-season football talk, doing that type of stuff, because he becomes a machine, the curmudgeon machine, and there goes everything as far as personality or things like that are concerned. But there's definitely a cooler side to Bill Belichick that only a few people have gotten to really see.
Hi, I'm Mike Tirico, and thanks for watching. Make sure to hit subscribe for the latest news and highlights from NBC Sports.